Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. I want to tell you a story about some things that can happen to you if you don't know what's going on. Lydia found that she had a broken uh, vertebrae in her back. It's called a compression fracture. And it's part of the arthritis that she's got going on, part of other things. But basically, she had a broken back. So we went to the doctor, as you're supposed to do. And her doctor is very good. Uh, Lori took care of her, got her medication, figured out how to solve the problem, referred her to some people, and got her to some people who were helping her. So that's good. They discovered that they didn't need to do surgery, which is always a good thing. Surgery is the last ditch effort. But the concept was that they were going to have her do physical therapy until she was able to recover from the broken bone. Broken bones heal. That's what they do. That's how your body works. But it takes time. During that time, her back hurt something fierce. It also was pinching her sciatic nerve. Now, pinching your sciatic nerve, I've had it before myself. It is a horrible feeling. It aches all the time. Sometimes it feels like your leg's being cut off, you're being stabbed. It's just horrible. But they came up with some medication that made it so that the pain went away. It took a few times and a lot of trials to figure out exactly how much medication and when to take it. And we understood that we were going to have to modify things as things went along. So we've been doing that. Problem we're running into, uh, hydrocodone. It's considered a horrible drug because people take it to get high and act the fool. And other people have recognized that and decided that that was a good way to make money. So, for good or ill, the government decided to crack down on it. Far too late in a lot of cases, far too much in a lot of others. One of the things that they've done is made it a controlled substance. So the government is here to help. That's a scary sound. In any case, we had to go through a lot of hoops to get approved to take this medicine. Then we had to reconfirm it every 30 days. So for the first 3 months, it was touch and go whether it was going to work or not. There was a week or two where she didn't have any medicine and just hurt. You take Advil by the handful in order to handle the pain, which wrecks your liver, wrecks your kidneys. I know. I had a lot of kidney damage because when I hurt my back, there wasn't such a thing as hydrocodone. It was just take Motrin. So I did. I took a lot of Motrin. I was taking 8 Motrin an hour. And it was just enough to handle it. Be that as it may. So we got it straightened out what she was going to need and how she was going to have to take it. Then we had to find a way to get it. So we went to Walmart, and Walmart was handling it. We had one pharmacist that helped us quite a bit. Great guy. Managed to get the stuff around, get it arranged so that we could get it. We went through a bunch of hoops and got it so it was coming on a regular basis. Now, knowing that we weren't going to need it forever, but still, we needed it then and we needed it right away. It had to be consistent. Well, there's a shortage of hydrocodone. Not sure what the reasoning behind the shortage is, whether it's an artificial shortage or something where somebody decided that it really needed to be handled differently and we shouldn't be able to get it at all, so they were going to make it so restrictive that no one could get it. That only works with the people like me who are willing to follow the rules. If you're not willing to follow the rules, you can always get this stuff. Going forward, this weekend we were 3 months into having the thing straightened out. We thought it was all okay. We placed an order for the hydrocodone. Lori put in the prescription, because you have to have a new prescription every 30 days. Can't just refill the prescription. You got to get a new one. You have to visit the doctor. You have to be approved. You have to make sure that there's no signs of damage or anything else. So we did all that. The order was placed. Walmart called and said they had it. I went to pick it up on Saturday. They said they didn't have it. They said they would have it on Monday. I said, why don't you have it? Well, we're having trouble getting it. You know, it's not coming through the normal channels. It's being restricted. Well, I got home, my wife called and asked, could we do anything? And they said, well, we have 10 hydrocodone capsules. And if we give you the 10, then that kills the prescription. You've got to get another prescription. Well, we've gone through that before, and they said, well, we'll have it on Monday. Okay. Monday, she was going to be out of pills in the morning. Last pill, 9 o'clock Monday morning. We were set to go visit Lori on Monday morning. So we drove down to Lori, and we're talking with her, and we got to discussing it, and I said, she's on 7.5 milligrams of Norco, 7.5 milligrams of codeine, 325 milligrams of Tylenol. That's what hydrocodone is. And I said, does she need to have 7.5? Could she get by with 5? And Lori said, yeah, she could. So I got on the phone and I called Walmart and I said, do you have 5 milligram hydrocodone? Oh yeah, we got a lot of that. So Lori sent in a prescription for 5 milligram hydrocodone. We got home. We had to drive up from Sturgis, which is about an hour. So it took us about an hour to get home. I went to Walmart, picked up the hydrocodone, and I said, do you still have the order for the 7.5? Because that was supposed to be in today. Well, no, they canceled the prescription on that when it came in, when the prescription for 5 came in. I said, do you still have 7.5? Well, no. So if I didn't call them and ask them about the 5 milligram, they wouldn't have had any 5 milligrams as far as I knew. They never mentioned it. They didn't say anything about having it. They just didn't think it was important. So I got the 5 milligram. We're okay for the next time when we're going to have to do this again in 30 days, which is stupid, almost to the point of being criminal in my estimation, but then I'm a little close to the problem. Problem, as I see it, is Walmart had the pills on Saturday when we were there. We had put a prescription, we'd gotten a prescription 3 days prior. They'd gone through the prescriptions and given away all the Norco to other patients who got in orders after we did. Not first come, first serve, it's just random. However it comes off the stack. That sounds stupid. It doesn't sound like a good method or process or anything else. I mean, it's not the way to run a world. But that's their process. My problem is, I can't see their process. I don't know what their process is. Their process doesn't make any sense to me. For the last 20 years, that's what I did. I wrote processes and procedures. Starting out as an engineer and working in automotive and telling people how to do things and what they had to do and where they had to do them. And after I'd been with the company for a number of years, I was given a position where I was a project manager, and I was responsible for a rather large project. That project was working with Caterpillar on a $30 million project. Now, a $30 million project sounds pretty big, but you got to remember, this company made $1 million a day. Yep, project I was on working on doors for Humvees, they made $1 million a day because they shipped that many doors. So $30 million was a month's run, which is still a fair amount, 8-9% of the annual. Problem they were having, Caterpillar was a large customer, and we'd been jumping through hoops trying to keep Caterpillar happy, constantly changing things, and they would say, well, we need it right away, and we would do it, and they'd say it's not right, and then they would hold up payment, and it was just constant hassle. Finally, Caterpillar got tired of us. They were closing plants across the U.S. and shipping the projects, the products that were being made at that plant to another plant, further south sometimes across to Mexico, sometimes overseas. In any case, they had an order that they had to get out, and somebody dropped the ball at Caterpillar, and they didn't have a way to do it. They had no facilities with capacity to run that job. So our salespeople went in and did the job that they're supposed to do. They got the job for us. Didn't always explore entirely what the job was and how it worked and what was involved in it. They said we could do it in 30 days. That was a tight squeak. We were going to be building an entire set of armor plate for a Caterpillar dozer in 30 days from scratch. They were going to send us jigs and fixtures, which means, okay, we're going to get a bunch of stuff that we don't know how it works. It's designed to work with other equipment in other places with other people, and we have to discover how to make it work. They did send along a set of work instructions, which were similar to what you would do if you wanted to make the things work. But we had different machines in different places to put them and different processes to run them through. Well, I was given that job. They said, we're going to make you project manager of that job. I said, gee, thanks. So the first thing I did was I opened up the Caterpillar book and I read the entire Caterpillar book front to back. They are smart enough that they have an entire book of how to do a quality plan for them, how to make parts, how to deliver them, and how to get paid when you do. Simple enough. You start on page 1. By the time you get to the last page, if you've done everything and checked all the boxes, they're happy, you're happy, everybody's happy. Unfortunately, it wasn't designed to be done in 30 days, but I knew there was ways around things. So we burned the midnight oil and ran a bunch of equipment overtime and a bunch of people overtime and got done what they needed to have done. And on the last day, we had the last piece made, but we were still waiting for approval on the parts. We sent off blueprints and sample pieces and specifications so that they could inspect them and approve them. On the very first page of the book, it said, if you do not follow these procedures, you are not going to be paid. Simple as that. Now with a company, that's like the golden rule, you know? You don't do it if you don't get paid to do it. Well, it seems that that was part of the problem we were having with Caterpillar right along. People didn't read the first page. They thought it was unimportant. They knew that they would get the job done and everything would be fine. Well, that's not how it works. So, I'm standing there on the shipping dock. I have the parts loaded on a truck. It has 3 days to reach Texas. It takes 3 days to get a truck from Michigan to Texas through all the checks and balances and weights and everything else that they've got to do. And they had a ship waiting in the dock for these parts to arrive. And I called them up and I said, you haven't sent me the approval yet. I can't release the truck. Well, I ended up talking to the head of quality in the United States for Caterpillar. And I talked to him a couple of times already, making sure that I had someone with direct access to him so that we could get around problems, because I knew this was going to be a tough problem to make work. When I got all done, I said, I can't release these until I get that approval, because in your book it says I will not get paid unless I do these things. The last thing I need done, I need to see that approval. You have to fax me the approval. Within the hour, I had a faxed approval. We had the truck loaded. I told the driver to take off. That job went well. That job stayed with Denver. I didn't. I left. I retired. I thought, I'm 62, 2 heart attacks. Well, 2 open heart surgeries, 1 heart attack, 1 congestive heart failure. Not any point in me staying here taking on this kind of strain, dealing with these kind of things with people who don't understand and follow directions. But I had the book in that case. I don't have the Walmart book. I don't have the book that the government uses to decide what's going to happen next. It's just pretty much made up as they go. I went to the bank today. I was just going to make a payment on my credit card. We pay off our credit card every month. So there's a 0 balance. That way there's no interest on it. It's always a good thing. Our credit rating is very high because we're careful with money. One of the things that I did, you all know about the annex that I built. I used part of my 401k and put down the concrete, and then I borrowed the money to buy the building. So I thought that was a better use of funds. Interest rate was right. I could afford it. So I borrowed the money from the local Kellogg Community Credit Union. We went through 9 yards of crap trying to get the loan approved. Rules again. Rules that just seemed totally foreign to me. I've been in business now, well, since I was 20. And I've had loans, and I've borrowed money, and I've loaned money, and I've dealt with a lot of bankers and a lot of banks. Had some silly things happen. And I'm pretty cautious. Lydia's an accountant. She's very cautious. She knows exactly where every penny goes and what they're going to do with it when they get it. So we went through a lot of stuff, got all the bugs worked out, got everything ironed out so everybody understood what was going to happen. Went to the bank, like I said, to pay off the credit card and put a deposit in my checking account. And while I was there, the clerk, who I know, said, I'm showing that the payment on the building hasn't been paid. I said, I know she pays it. She's paid it every month. She has a booklet of coupons that she uses, and she's right up to snuff. She's paying it early. And they said, well, we don't show it as being paid. I said, can I pay it? And then we'll straighten this out. I don't want to have it sitting open. So I paid them the $116 that they wanted, so that the account was up to snuff on their books. On our books, it showed that we were a month ahead. Well, I came home and I said, Lydia, there's a problem. And explained what had happened. She said, no, I'm paying that a month ahead. I pay that a full month ahead to make sure it's there. It's due on the 10th. I pay it usually on the 18th or 20th. Because that just happens to be when Google pays me. That's when I went through and I always did all the books for the business and paid off everything. So we just did the same thing at the same time. Well, we found out something. There's another book we didn't know all the answers to. Kellogg Community Credit Union doesn't do things like normal banks do. When we paid the first note, the first payment on the uh, loan for the building, Lydia made one payment on the 5th of September. She made another payment on the 18th of September, which was to cover the payment for October. So 5th of September covered the payment for September. 18th of September covered the payment for October. So we were a month ahead now. And she just said, okay, October, November, December. And today she wrote the check and put it in the mail to send to the bank fully 22 days ahead of time. So I said, but they're not showing it as being received. She said, well, I just sent it today, but they're missing the January payment. Well, that was paid in December 18th. So I went back and I can look at the electronic records of the bank, and I went online and looked, and December 18th, yes, the check cleared. Well, what happened? Why are they saying we didn't pay December? Or didn't pay January? Because January's due on January 10th, and it's now January 20th. She said, I don't know. I said, well, we got to call them. And you're going to have to talk to them because I won't understand it. Well, after a long discussion, turns out that the bank decided that in their rule book, if you make a payment in September on the due date, the 10th, and then you make a payment for October, before October, it's credited in September. You just made 2 payments in September. You still owe one for October. You haven't made it yet. So what we did, we thought we had paid October, when really we just paid 2 payments in September. And now they're saying we're late. Well, I'm a kind, forgiving, understanding person until you do something like this. Then I get absolutely rabid. And Lydia's heard that before, and I try not to be rabid with her because it's not her fault. She didn't do anything wrong. She did what is a normal thing for a person to do. You want to make sure if you're mailing a check to someone that it arrives and has time to clear before the due date. If you mail it on the 1st, chances are they're not going to get it and have it filed by the 10th. So, we paid off the January 10th payment this month. I did it while I was standing there in the bank. And now we have to make sure that we walk down to the bank, walk inside, hand them a check, and make sure that they clear it and get a receipt for it. Because we can't trust them to do it. It's not the way I want to do business. It's not the reason I chose Kellogg Community Credit Union. I liked them because they were close by. I could walk in, I could talk to people. I understood what they were doing. Now I'm finding that things aren't the same. I need the rule book. Now, I don't know how I'm going to get it, but it's always helped me in the past to know exactly where my edges are and what I can do and what I can't do. What I would suggest you guys do, guys, gals, anybody else, ask. Find out what they think they're doing. Find out what they're really doing. Make sure that what they're really doing is what you want them to do. And if they're not doing what you want them to do, find out how to make it so that it is what you want them to do. Or understand what they're doing and accept it for what it is and behave accordingly. Because we were just lucky. It's a building that I have on the property. It's a bank that's in town. I can walk in and talk to somebody. How many of you guys are making payments online somewhere, who knows where? You can't walk in and talk to anybody. You can't call and talk to anybody. You can't square anything away at all. And if I hadn't called that guy in Texas and said, I'm holding your truck. Either you make this right or you're not going to get your vehicle. That $30 million would have flown out the window. And we'd have spent a lot of time, effort, and money trying to get a customer that didn't believe in us, didn't trust us, and wouldn't let us have the business again. And I only did it because I said, this is the fire, and these are your feet, and I'm going to hold them there until they smoke. Now, I'm going to get a book. I'm going to set myself up a nice little campfire, and I'm going to hold some people's feet. We'll see just how long it takes. If you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. And I hope you never get in these kind of situations. But I wonder if you're in them and don't know it. Thanks for watching.